Yeah, this is the first time that we've had a chance to talk about the rankings since the NFL draft as well. All the rankings, of course, available for free on rotoworld.com, NBCSports.com. I'm company man. And what stuck out to you?
Okay, well, let's start off with 1 through 10. And headline, Jamar Chase, number 1, fresh off an elite Triple Crown season. Saquon Barkley, obviously a magnificent first year in Philadelphia. Bijan Robinson, who came on late and expected to continue that rise with Michael Penix under center. Jameer Gibbs, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, who we're going to get to, Ashton Jeanty, Malik Neighbors, Puka Nacua, my best friend, and Amon-Ra St. Brown, the sun god. Connor, I want to start off with CeeDee Lamb, who is the big, the big news of the past 24 hours affects him with George Pickens going to Dallas. How do you think the Pickens arrival impacts CeeDee's outlook?
Kind of a net neutral, right? There's things you could pick at where it literally, George Pickens is going to have touchdown equity because he's a good red zone threat with his size. But he also should open up some space underneath for CeeDee Lamb, which if it's just CeeDee Lamb out there, that could be a problem. Safeties can cheat down on him. You could bracket him. So it comes out to be a net neutral to me. If anything, Jake Ferguson is the guy that loses targets in this situation because of Pickens' arrival. But overall, there's ways this helps CeeDee Lamb, very, very limited ways this hurts him. And obviously, I think Lawrence, for George Pickens, this has to feel like an exciting move for his prospects going forward in a contract year.
Yeah, definitely. You get an upgrade at quarterback. You get an upgrade in, let's say, offensive scheme where you're not so focused on running the ball like they did in Pittsburgh. You get Dak Prescott, who's just a couple of seasons removed from being a runner-up at MVP. Right. I think getting George Pickens could help him get back to that level. And I think both CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens have the opportunity to play their best football. You saw a lot of times last year when Dallas's offense was so focused on CeeDee Lamb and it just didn't work from an overall standpoint. Adding George Pickens to that allows for the Dallas offense to be spread out a little more.
They're not going to run the ball. I mean, they've sort of, at least what we've seen so far through this offseason, all due respect to Javonte Williams, like this is going to be a pass-first offense with a pretty good quarterback in Dak Prescott. To your point, he adds George Pickens. It's a nice move for him. He moves up from 41 to 33 for me. To your point, I agree. Higher octane offense, in scoring position more often, better quarterback, obviously, as well. Over the last 2 years, Dak is actually 7th in the NFL in deep pass attempts per game, and that's with, the Brandon Cooks and Jalen Tolberts of the world outside of CeeDee Lamb. And so obviously Pickens, a significant upgrade over the other complementary weapons outside of Lamb. Eights, I call him eights. A lot of people refer to him as CeeDee Lamb, but his friends call him eights. Everyone knows that. So my boy eights there. I think I'm with Connor here. I don't think this affects CeeDee Lamb. He's still going to be the focal point of this offense. But ultimately, it's an upgrade for Pickens. It's an upgrade for Dak Prescott, who moves up to QB 15 for me. Remember, this is a team that was top 8 in pass attempts per game each of the last 2 seasons. Brian Schottenheimer not calling plays, but I think it's going to be a very similar offense to what they ran under Mike McCarthy. Other side of the ball here, DK Metcalf now is the only game in town in Pittsburgh. Now, we still don't know. I guess Mason Rudolph is the default quarterback at the moment. We don't know if Aaron Rodgers. We think Aaron Rodgers is going to be there. But Metcalf will be the guy, the main guy for this Steelers offense. Last year in games where he had a target share of at least 25%, DK Metcalf averaged over 18 fantasy points per game. He's the only wide receiver on the Pittsburgh roster as we sit here today that had a target share above 13% in 2024. He's somebody that obviously is a big red zone threat as well. Now, it's going to be a slow pace of play. I think the quarterback play is going to be subpar, and they are going to be very run first. Think about what Drake London did under Arthur Smith's offense. Right. But DK Metcalf's like a different kind of dude. So I think he probably, whereas before we were like, you go to Pittsburgh, this is probably a downgrade. To me, he's now back where he was in Seattle, which is kind of like a borderline top 20 wide receiver who will need touchdowns to pay off in a given week. But he's going to pay off more often than not because he is sort of the only guy they got there.
You look at guys like Drake London and George Pickens, you know what they didn't have? Long-term contracts. That's what DK Metcalf has after they traded for him, right? And then let's just say Mason Rudolph is the quarterback, right? While, like you said, it could be subpar quarterback play, he was in Tennessee last year with Calvin Ridley, and Calvin Ridley was able to have some nice games. So you just got to have somebody throwing him the football. The way the rest of the game goes is that remains to be seen. But DK Metcalf should still be able to give you a return on investment.
I could not agree with that more, Lawrence. Too much, I think, often in fantasy, we make too much of a deal of like, oh, well, the quarterback sucks.
Right, yes.
Right? I mean, like, who was throwing the ball to Brock Bowers last year? Did just fine, right? Who's throwing the ball?
got Malik Neighbors.
I was just about to say Malik Neighbors.
Right. All of them did, yeah.
That was the argument against Malik Neighbors last year. That was the argument against Brock Bowers. Like, there's DK Metcalf has had some great quarterback play over the court, but he's also had some inconsistent quarterback play as well. And so, to your point, whether it's Mason Rudolph or Aaron Rodgers, they're going to be competent enough quarterback to get DK the ball. I think the target share will outmask any kind of the inefficiency.
I think what's interesting, the longer this goes, though, with Rodgers, he's just going to miss the Steelers' offseason activities entirely. And I know there's been Instagram posts of him working out with various Steelers, but that's different from an OTA period. And this was something that, the infamous Egypt trip that he missed the Jets, one of the Jets mini camps last week.
The infamous Egypt trip.
Yeah, that everybody was freaking out about. But at the end of the day, like for an older quarterback on a new team, OTAs, there's not as much training camp as there used to be. I'm not saying it's a huge deal, but it is something where if he does just linger on with this and misses all of OTAs and then he's starting up at training camp from scratch, it's something to keep an eye on.
It feels like, but that's sort of his MO, right?
Which is a problem
whether it's the Egypt trip or the darkness retreat, right? The darkness retreat. Like, I mean, like he just does this. Like he's an older quarterback. He wants to enjoy his summer and just, and like eventually he'll he'll get around to it.
If it's 2012 or even 2020 Aaron Rodgers where he was winning MVPs, then you let that slide.
Right.
Well, he's also in the same offensive system year after year.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, so.
Yep.
Yeah.
By the way, briefly going back to Dallas, huge result for Dak Prescott. James Harden going 2 for 8 for 7 points in Game 7, getting blown out in Denver. Just for all Dak's playoff failures, James Harden will forever be untouched in terms of.
He's in unique territory. Him and. Of course, Clayton Kershaw.
Clayton Kershaw, yeah. Connor Hellebuck is
Hellebuck's redemption tour is now, but yes, Clayton Kershaw all time.
And Dalton had a first year, for 5 straight years with the Bengals as well. One question I'm curious here about with Dak Prescott. Did the betting market move at all with Pickens going here?
No, just slightly around the edges. It just doesn't really move the needle. I think George Pickens is a very good wide receiver, but with Dallas, with their flaws, with the offensive line, younger and getting worse.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
I think they have upside, and we forget that it's only 2 years ago that they went into the playoffs as the second favorite in the NFC to make the Super Bowl. I think their defense getting Ezeraku
last year.
Yeah, I think that would be solid.
I have a controversial take that I think outside of maybe the AFC West, I think the NFC East is going to be the most competitive
because of the
division.
Giants.
Well, in all seriousness, though, right? I mean, the Eagles are the defending Super Bowl champs. We think the Cowboys are going to be good. The Commanders have improved from last year's team, which was, got to the NFC Championship game. And then you've got the Giants who, adding Abdul Carter to what was already a pretty good defense. Right, as long as their offense is competent,
7-10.
they're going to be.
But they'll play in the divisional games. They're going to be playing them.
They'll be
tough.
Scrappy. They're going to be. They're going to be like the stereotypical scrappy, tough out
in that
kind of thing. Like Daboll can coach, and they now have a competent quarterback, whether it's Russ or Jameis or even Dart towards the end of the year. They're going to have a competent quarterback. They've got Malik Neighbors. They're going to have a decent run game with Tracy and Scatterbo. They're going to have a pretty good defense. The Giants are going to be terrible. They're not going to be terrible this year.
Yep, NFC East will be better, but the best division in football still probably the AFC West, and they got a new member in Ashton Genty, and we heard from Ashton Genty on his pass catching.
I don't know how much you plan to have me in the passing attack, but I think it would be a great opportunities for me to catch the ball at the backfield and be an asset to this offense and just show off my versatility.
You said that you run like you're angry at the turf. I guess, what do you think about that statement? And I guess, how would you describe how you play?
I think that's a great description. I've got so many different ways to describe that I run, but I think my favorite, somebody said that, I was a rolling ball of knives.
By the way, I'm going to tell my daughters, I want you to marry somebody that looks at you the way that John Spytek looks at Ashton Genty. Do you see that whole clip? He's just staring at him with a big grin.
He didn't blink.
No.
I can't believe this.
Pete Carroll's
I'm so
looking at
good.
the audience, but Spytek is just all on Genty.
Yep.
Yeah.
This guy is going to save my
He's
life.
like, yes, 2,600 yards.
Rolling ball of knives is a magnificent.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, and that's something you get out the way of.
Yeah, that's a fantasy football team name. I'm already calling it right now.
Lawrence,
Genty in the first round.
Yep.
Lawrence's rolling ball of knives, how many passes do you think he's going to catch? What do you think his role will be as a pass catcher?
Putting in the fact that he should be their workhorse, putting in the fact that it's also Pete Carroll. I would say he's game to around 50, 60 catches as a rookie, and that puts him where we are. I think he's going to be in top tier running back one form in fantasy.
Yep, absolutely.
I mean, think of their short area passing attack right now. Like, Brock Bowers, that's an important one. We're going to see what Jack Besh can do and Jacoby Myers, but Genty's right at the top of that list, impacting the short area pass catching.
He caught a lot of passes his sophomore year in
Yes.
college, not so much his junior year.
And he was good at it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, for sure. And I think you think about the impact that Chip Kelly has. The run game has always been so important to Chip Kelly's offense, right? I mean, LaShawn McCoy was an absolute fantasy superstar in 2013 in Philadelphia under Chip Kelly as well. We know he's just going to get a massive target share, massive touch. He's just going to be the focal point of this offense, and they're going to try to get Geno on the move as well, which I think will help Ashton Genty as well. He's my number 4 quarterback, and I don't think that by the time we get to August, there's no way he goes outside the first round of any fantasy draft where people know what they're doing.
Indeed. Okay, let's jump to number 8, Malik Neighbors, who post-draft has moved up from ahead of Puka Nacua, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Nico, Brian Thomas Jr., and Matthew. He gets one of the larger quarterback upgrades of any wide receiver.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, we just sort of talked about it, right? Russell Wilson's going to start. They're going to have Jackson Dart there. If something were to happen to Russ, Jameis Winston, no one focuses on one guy like famous Jameis. And so you think about Neighbors, who last year was a top 6 wide receiver in points per game with the likes of, Tommy DeVito and Drew Lock throwing to him. He had a 35% target share. Right? 170 targets, ranked second in the NFL, a 35% target share. And so if this guy was wide receiver 6 with bad quarterback play, they didn't add any target competition for him. They just improved his quarterback play. Right? And so second year in the system, second year in the NFL for Malik Neighbors, there's an argument to be made. And there's so much competition, right, when you think about Chase and Jefferson. But, it would not shock me if we're a year from now, we're talking about Malik Neighbors, number 1 wide receiver in fantasy.
I agree.
That's within the range of outcomes. I have him slotted where I have him here at number 8 overall, but my number wide receiver 4, just because the talent is so immense, the target share is so immense, and again, pretty good pretty good quarterback upgrade for him.
He's going to get a chance to get more of those deep balls instead of a lot of the catch and runs that he had. He's really going to get a chance to operate with that deep ball with a quarterback like Russell Wilson.
And for a while, we thought this was this is a team that Travis Hunter could be on this team. And it obviously didn't go that way, which only helps Malik Neighbors. They brought back Darius Slayton. And Cam Scatterbu will get some catches. Tyrone Tracy will get some catches. Theo Johnson, year 2.
Sure.
Malik Neighbors is
Wan'Dale Robinson still wandering around.
Yeah, 4-yard catch after 4-yard catch. Malik Neighbors is primed for an insane target share, which is a better quarterback play, like you said, Matthew. I agree with you. I think he has a really good shot to be wide receiver 1 or 2 this year.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotoWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched. Or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.